Okay, we all have our own high school stories, right? But I'm willing to bet none of them are quite like this one. Today, we're diving into a story about a school where the line between education and just complete and utter chaos was basically non-existent. Get ready, because this is a story about one person's truly scary and honestly hilarious high school experience.
And this quote right here, this tells you everything you need to know. Forget morning announcements about the bake sale. The first order of business at this school was public shaming over tuition fees. This really sets the stage, showing you that this place wasn't just about discipline, it was about power, money, and some seriously warped priorities.
So where does a day at a school like this even begin? Well, it starts with a daily ritual that was less about quiet prayer and more about a brutal test of endurance. I'm talking about the morning assembly.
Now, that 2 hours you see on the screen, that wasn't for some special occasion. Nope. That's how long students were once forced to stand completely still, not for some visiting dignitary, but to celebrate an award the principal had literally bought for herself. 2 full hours. Just imagine that.
And you might think standing still for 2 hours is the hard part, but oh no. The punishment for the tiniest movement was somehow even more bonkers. It would start simply. A student fidgets, or maybe just wipes away some sweat. A teacher spots them. That student is then forced to lie on the ground and pretend to be a corpse. While that's happening, a teacher might spot another kid and punish them just for not oiling their hair. And the original offender, they get hauled off to the Kalkotori, the school's dungeon. Yes, you heard me right, a dungeon.
So let's zoom in a little bit and see how this environment shaped everyday student life. This next story is about our narrator's very brief and incredibly painful career as the school's unofficial sketch artist.
The goal was simple, right? A classic high school move, impress a girl named Chameli by drawing a free portrait of her. What could go wrong? Well, the result was not so classic. He gets beaten up by her boyfriend Rajesh, who was not impressed at all. So yeah, that plan backfired spectacularly.
And this was his thinking afterwards. He was genuinely confused about where things went south. He just thought, adding a little heartfelt note at the bottom of the sketch would be a nice touch. Apparently, Rajesh felt differently.
But his art career wasn't quite over. Later, when an art teacher demanded he draw a free portrait of the principal, he handed in the absolute worst sketch he could possibly manage. And his justification? It was brutally honest, and in a place like this, it makes perfect sense. Hey, you get what you pay for.
Now, this kind of questionable logic wasn't just a one-off thing. It went all the way to the top. Next up, we're going to see how this mindset led to a full-blown school-wide scheme that all started in a faculty meeting.
And I'm not making this up. This was the literal question that was asked in that meeting. There was no pretense, no talk about enhancing the educational experience. It was just a straight-up brainstorming session on how to get more money out of the students. And the big idea they came up with? The smart class.
You have to admire the simplicity of the scam. For the teachers, the smart class meant a new fee they could charge, and, bonus, less actual teaching they had to do. For students, it was a chance to pay extra to stare at a blurry projector screen and maybe watch a movie. And the final outcome? Well, the teachers got more money, and absolutely no one got any smarter. It was pretty much the school's whole philosophy in a nutshell. The actual execution was even more of a mess than the idea itself. Any kid who hadn't paid the extra fee was just kicked out of the classroom. The projector was usually aimed at the ceiling, so they'd just pick a random student to climb on a desk and try to fix it. They even charged one kid 10 rupees just to peek inside for 1 second. And of course, by the time they got anything working, the period was over. The whole disaster only ended when one student got so fed up that they just stole the display cable.
Okay, but all of that pales in comparison to the school's biggest criminal investigation. We're talking about a case that mobilized the entire faculty and brought the whole school to a screeching halt. And the heinous crime at the center of it all? A simple love letter. The way this thing escalated is just mind-blowing. Day 1, a teacher finds the letter. Fine. By day 2, all classes are canceled as teachers join the investigation. By day 3, teachers are literally coming back from their vacations to help crack the case. And by day 4, they've brought in an expert in face reading to ID the suspect. For a love letter. But here's the best part. The main focus of this massive investigation wasn't really the forbidden romance. Oh no. The thing that truly bothered the lead investigator, her biggest frustration, was the culprit's terrible grammar. He had spelled Chamelia wrong.
That was the real crime here.
So the pressure is mounting on the handful of boys left in the class. The interrogations are getting intense. And just when you think it can't get any more personal, Chamali's boyfriend, Rajesh, yep, the same guy from the portrait incident, stands up and points the finger directly at our narrator, whose nickname was Hadi.
And this accusation is what brings our whole story to its absolutely bizarre and totally unresolved conclusion. With the full investigative might of the school bearing down on him, our narrator has to face the music.
And then, the ultimate plot twist. The teachers take one look at our narrator's face, and they just decide he's too innocent-looking to have written the letter. The face-reading expert agrees. His own face becomes his alibi. And just like that, all the suspicion flips from him to the person who accused him, Rajesh.
The fallout was swift, and frankly, a little mysterious. For daring to accuse such an innocent-looking boy, Rajesh apparently faced the full wrath of the faculty. After that day, he was just gone, never seen at the school again. In a final, perfect example of this school's twisted logic, the accuser became the one who was punished, and his fate is still a total mystery.
So our narrator walked free, and his accuser vanished into thin air. But this leaves us with the one huge, haunting question that this whole wild story leaves behind. The case was closed, but the mystery was never actually solved. So, who really wrote that love letter? In a school like this, you have to wonder if anyone ever really knew.